of a dead woman. And you've refused to tell us about your accomplice. So we're not taking any accomplice, we are taking you. And for that, the guy was given a death penalty. And I'm like, okay, bro, you had it coming. But again, he goes ahead and says, you'll find someone who's done rape being given, I don't know, 20 years, I don't know, 15 years. Bro, rape. What's the difference between the two? There's no consent in any of them. How is rape not a death, not a death penalty kind of offense, and robbery is? You know, as in, it just doesn't make sense. As in, these things we need to be asking. So that if we are going hard on these penalties, then it has to go hard on every issue. Bro, we are having priests, Catholic priests, who've been caught pants down with kids. Bro, kids. But no, those cases are to be sorted by the Catholic. How? This is our society. How? So I'm not advocating for, I'm not encouraging these offenses. I'm not encouraging shit. For me, it doesn't make sense, bro. We need to be asking questions. This thing is not making sense. A pedophile gets years. They're not getting a death penalty. A pedophile. Bro, can you imagine messing up with a kid, a child who doesn't know shit? You're there interfering with her innocence. Bro, a child. You can be sleeping with an older woman, and they might have a problem with your dick, but there you go to a child, bro. When I was in med school, I remember when we were doing now rounds in the Hosi. There was a time a kid that was brought in emergency, bro. That kid had been raped, and I can tell you for a fact that scene wasn't beautiful. It's not that you have to test someone to know if they were raped. No. This one, you're just seeing it. That kid was opened up. That kid was torn, bro. That kid was torn. It was so ugly. You'd sit there, if that was your child, you'd erupt. And then someone is being given 20 years or 15, 20. What do you mean? Or 30. But for robbery, not just robbery, even attempted robbery, bro, you're eligible for a death penalty. Terrorism, attempted. And when I say attempted, this is something that hasn't happened. But rape doesn't have these penalties. So where is the justice making sense in this? Where is the justice making sense in this? But if we're to go death penalty, let's go all the way with the things that are affecting the society right now. Let's not stick to an old rule book. No, let's improve it. Let's update it. And that was my side with the death penalty. If we can't update it, then let's be done with it. Can you imagine? We are still criminalizing petty offenses. We are not adapting to shit. We are still criminalizing petty offenses. And when I say petty offenses, take for instance something like weed. We're still criminalizing weed. If we were to adapt, or if we were to, and update ourselves, then instead of criminalizing weed, we should be helping people who are taking drugs. Bro, taking someone to prison because they're taking drugs is not helping them. How are they going to reform? Bro, you're going to prison, you're going to meet the same environment you're being snatched away from. How is that? How is that helping? You've caught someone with weed, you're taking them to prison for 7 years. How is that helping? Are you really adapting to how the current situation is? This guy you're going to introduce this guy to murderers, you're going to introduce this guy to other drug dealers, not just drug takers, drug dealers. Bro, this guy was telling me in prison, man, I wish I would have told that guy to come on board. He was telling, man, I have to bring that guy on board. In fact, I'm bringing him. Let me ask him if you can come on board. He was telling me this as in prison, people have their own roles. You'll find those people who can accommodate up to 10 packs of cigarettes. Bro, it's not a cigarette per cigarette, no, a packet. This guy is inserting 10 packets of cigarette in his ass. Imagine, this is the place you're taking people you've caught with the drugs. These people who are smuggling drugs in there. And there are people who are okay with that environment. He even said there's certain brothers who they even don't want to leave that prison because that's the place they relate with. They don't relate with the society. So when they're about to be released, they cause, havoc, or they do something that exceeds, either they kill someone in prison so that it can exceed their time in jail. But there is where you want to take the petty offenses. Or if you're caught with weed, go to jail, you 7 years. If you're caught with cocaine, go to... That is not helping, bro. The people who are supposed to be going to jail are the people who are supplying. Not the people who are taking it. The people who are taking it are supposed to be taken for help. Now, it's either you take them to Madare or you come up with an institution for drug takers. And those are what I call petty offenses. So the prison can remain for wale criminal sugu. Don't come and tell us, the prisons are full. They're full of what? They're full of people you people have taken in for no apparent reason, for minor offenses. So no, they're not full. Bro, there was a time I was caught with weed, man. I had to toboka 30 G's. We imagine. I toboka 30 G's because this guy instilled fear in me, telling me, hey, when we go now in front, hey, this case of yours is serious. We've caught you with blunts, and we are seeing an ashtray here, which is evidence. It has a lot of blunts inside here. Not blunts, basically, just the nyongis. So I'm there looking at this guy, and I'm like, as in, you don't need to do all that. Why are you taking me forward? As in, can we just talk this shit out? So in my head, I'm thinking he's going to tell me 1,000 bob. So it's like, now, because they caught me, there were like four of them, five actually. Five, no, four. Because one was seated in front and three behind. Yeah, it was four. So it's like, come on, be serious. You can't give us 1,000 bob and we are four of us. Imagine that. So in my head, now with my stubbornness, I told them, hey, you know what, then let's just go. Because bail is 10,000, right? Let's just go. I go pay the bail and leave. Or go like, it doesn't work like that. There's no bail for you. We've caught you with evidence. We have to take you to court. Bro, I wish I knew, no, man. So I'm there scared in the car. And I was actually to go for them. I was heading to a meeting. Bro, this is me heading to a meeting. I'd already sorted myself out very well. I'm there smoked, smoking my plant. I have like a Gino there, just setting myself in that zone. Now, you might not understand this, but as in, it's not that I'm taking the drugs to get high. No. I'm taking the drugs just to calm. I'm a very excited kind of person. Like I'm an extreme person, so I'm taking them just to calm myself down, and we be in this world. So I'm there in my zone, like, the meeting was to happen around 12, and it was around 9. So, nimetoka kijani, like I'm gassing self up. I'm going to meet my designer, the guy who was to create for me the presentation. So, hey, I'm good, bro. As in, I'm in my zone. It's a good day for me. So they've caught me, and I'm like, guys, come on, like, as in, let's just finish this because where I'm going, I really need to go. They're like, no, just give us 50,000, or we just take you to the cell. Bro, I'm telling them I don't have 50,000 because of a blunt that I bought for 100, bro. I give you 50,000 because you've told me if you take me to court, I'm going to go inside for 7 years. Bro, I'm calling my lawyer. My lawyer is like, man, those people are stupid. Now the problem is they're going to write for you things that you haven't done. They'll say there's weed. They'll say they've caught you with something else. Even if it's the alcohol, you're driving under influence. They'll say you refuse to be taken in. So I'm seated there and I'm like, shit, man. What are these offenses now? So now with my stupid self, I was so, I got agitated and I was like, fuck all of you. Take me to that Nini of yours. Take me to that OCS. Fuck all of you. Let me go pay that 10,000. Bro, I reached to the OCS. Now I've added another Karao in the mix. And the OCS doesn't want 50,000. These people are asking for 120,000. Hey, my God. The OCS is like, come on. Instead of that, will take him inside. You people are smoking weed. You're smoking weed. Is it legal? I'm like, no, it's not legal. Then why are you smoking it? I'm like, shit, man. Come on. What do you mean, why am I smoking it? It's something that is happening. Bro, 120,000 for a blunt. And it's not because that's what they take. It's because how they caught me. Bro, I was in my ride. So they look at someone, the person they're catching. I was in my ride, bro, dressed up nicely for this presentation. And they're like, this guy can't tomoka. So I'm seated there, I'm trying to reason with this guy. He's like, hey, you better pay that money or go to the cell. And it was on a Friday where they go to the cell, we'll talk on Monday. Oh my God. Bro, I made all the calls I could. Paka finally, now the last call, it was like, hey, you know what? I've talked to him, so you're not going anywhere. Just sort with them. I mean, of course they'll want something, give them something. So now I'm sitting there. I'm sitting with them. Now I've already cancelled my meeting because no, how do I say this? I'm in no position to go for a meeting. I'm in no position at all. So I'm there with them, like, okay, so now how much? Okay, so we'll go back. Or you mean just give me 50,000 so that I can sort my people, because your case has caused a lot of havoc. You've made a lot of calls. We've already written what we've written. Now, for us to remove that statement from the OB, I mean, come on, you need to pay all of us. Bro, I tobokat 30 fucking thousand because of a blunt. One blunt. Because of fear, I'd go to jail for 7 years to 15 years. Imagine a blunt. Someone who's to go for a meeting, a very good meeting. But then I missed that investment because of that. I had to make a call like 2 hours earlier, like, hey, you know what, guys? I want to make it today. I've been caught. And that guy was so disappointed. He's like, hey, I've assembled my company. As in, we've set aside time for you. We're interested in your product. As in, you're coming here to pitch your product. We're interested in it. So you can't tell me right now you can't make it. So I'm like, I know I can't tell you, but imagine I can't, bro. I'm in a cell. They're like, okay, then that's that. So now he is a citizen losing their fucking job because of an old mentality which drives you crazy. Oh, your bang is illegal. Those people who are taking bang are crazy. Bros, I've interacted with so many people, so many big people, and we smoke a lot of weed in cars. We go to the parking, smoke, and go back to, you know, go back to the boardroom. Or if we meet for a social event, I'm like, as in, you people do this. So when you go back to the office, why don't you approve this? I mean, a certain group, there's a group by there going on, and I had shared the link for Stop Petty Offenses. I'd share that. There's a group that has even prominent people in the group. I'm not going to name them. I think I'll reshare that in a certain WhatsApp group. I'll reshare that link. And these people, yeah, they're with that idea, like, as in, come on, we need to revise these petty offenses. Because it doesn't make sense. At all. Bro, you can't tell me, eh. Now I missed a whole entire meeting, life-changing meeting, just because you've caught me with one blunt. And now I have to pay 120,000. Eh. Oh my God. So yeah, right now we need to be like, we need to be questioning everything, bro. As in, you'll realize kids will ask you very simple questions, and when you can't answer them, your reaction is to be angry. Why are you asking me such a question? No. It's because you don't want, or because you don't know the answer to a simple question. Bro, I was asking my mom, why is weed illegal? Why should I smoke weed? As in, without the weed, we talk with you so well. Remove the weed out of the topic. We talk with you so well. I'm doing my job. I'm living my life. Why is it that when weed is involved, then now I'm a different kind of person? And when I say weed is involved, is when now you bring that topic of weed. How am I a different person when we're talking about weed? You know me. And she's like, "Hi, no, weed is bad. Weed, weed will turn you mad. You smoke a lot of weed, you will turn mad." And what do you mean I'll turn mad? I'm not mad. I've been smoking weed, bro. I was chased in school because of weed. You know that. I haven't smoked. I haven't stopped smoking weed. So how haven't I turned mad? Or you're waiting for me to turn mad so that you can say it's weed? As in, I'll even reach a point whereby now I'll stop taking weed, and I haven't turned mad yet. So I'll be a successful weed smoker, or should I say, former weed smoker. Mhm. So when you ask things as babies, as a child, you'll realize there are no answers to simple questions. We have answers to complicated questions that don't relate with our reality. Now I'll answer you about, let's take for instance, what is this? Let's take for instance, I'll answer you about the church. I'll answer you about God. But do you know how complicated we made God be? We've made God so complicated, but yet we have an answer for that. But the simple things, why is weed illegal? You can't answer that. Oh, weed turns people mad. Can you imagine the entire country right now if really weed was turning people mad? See, the entire country would have been mad. Literally. One way or another, out of a hand or out of 10 people, 9 people have tried out weed. 9 people have tried it out of 10. No, the people who are still using it, let's take maybe now 6. Out of 10, 6 people are using weed. I have an aunt. uh, by the time I was going back now when we were going to Shags this time round, she's deep into weed. I'm like, come on. I remember how you were so hard on me, advising me about how weed is bad. And she's like, no, me, I'm taking it for the pain. She has migraine. I'm taking it for the pain. I'm like, so for you right now, weed is a cure. But for me, it was a drug that was turning me mad. I mean, come on, why don't you look at this weed as something else? Why don't you stop looking at it from what you are told what weed is? Whoever has gone through campus has tried weed out. And when I say tried weed out, it's either you smoked it or you were in a company of people who are smoking it. We are having many bosses smoking it. We are having many politicians smoking it. Why aren't they turning mad? So where you are, you've decided, hey, you know what? I'm going to put you, a consumer of weed, in the same place. If I find you consuming weed, I'm going to take you and put you in the same place with the supplier of weed. Imagine that. If I catch you smoking weed, I'm going to take you to jail. If I catch you supplying weed, I'm going to take you to jail. So here we are two people who we relate. Bro, you can pack weed in your ass and bring back here in jail. I don't know if this guy has replied. And we see that as a solution. How is that a solution? How? How is it a solution? So right now we need to be questioning everything. So when I'm talking about the death penalty, let's question things as they are right now. What should we put as death penalty? Should pedophile be put in death penalty? Because it is not only killing our children, it is also killing the longevity of our children. Imagine a child growing up with the trauma of being raped. The people who are supplying drugs, drug dealers. These people are killing the generation. I mean, let's go to the root of the cause. Let's not go to, what's the name? Let's not go to the after effect. Let's not go to the people who are using drugs. The people who are using drugs are not the problem. They're using the drugs because the drugs are available. Let's go to the root of the cause. You get a rapist, go to a rapist. Do not go beyond and be like, hey, this guy was also molested while he was growing up, so let's understand. No, two wrongs don't make a right. I mean, that's the only way to stop this thing. If you look at it, you know, if you look at it from, should I say, a curious point of view. So meaning, it's not that they want it to stop. If all these things stop, then we won't need all these policemen we are having. We won't need all these cells. We won't need all these prisons. Because you have to remember these prisons are running on our taxes. They're telling us prisons are full. Full of what? Where I live, we can take this entire area. For the last 5 years, we've caught 2 criminals. 2 criminals. So where is the prison full? If this area I live in, we've caught 2 criminals for the past 4 years. Is it 2 years? What was that? Yeah, 2. So I'm assuming it's not a common thing for you to tell me the prisons are full. Bro, I'd understand if hospitals are full. But prisons, It's you people who are not focusing on the. In fact, prisons need to be very luxurious, bro. Because it's not that our society is full of criminals. Our society is not full of criminals. Out of 10 people, you'll get 3 to 4 criminals. In fact, that's a big number. Let's say 2. Out of 10, you'll get 2 criminals or 1. And it's when you get that 1 criminal, it's these 9 people who are funding this 1 criminal. Where is that making sense? Now, we have no problem of funding this 1 criminal. But when now you start introducing petty offenses, now we are even funding things that are not even people who are not even criminals. So we just need to be asking questions, bro. Even before we get to the next election, we need to be asking questions. Why is this happening? The other day I asked, who told you that you needed God? And people were like, this way you've started going the wrong way. I'm like, you see, the problem is you're thinking that I'm actually provoking you guys. No, I'm actually just asking in an innocent way. At what point did you think you needed God? Imagine you were born and then you were told you were born with sin. Now you have to be baptized. How is that natural? As humans, we are complicating so much. So how is it that humans are born with sins, but animals are not born with sins? We should be baptizing even the animals. Once an animal is born, we should go baptize that animal because that animal is also born with sin. It's not natural. So you're introducing a need that is not relevant to that environment, but now you're telling them, hey, you know what? You need this. No, I don't need that. You need God to have a smooth life. It's you who thinks that. But I'm doing okay in my environment. Anything that I need, I sort it out. We imagine now you're coming and telling me in my environment, hey, you're poor. For you to be rich, you need to be praying to God so that He can bless you with richness. Instead of telling someone you need to fucking work hard for you to achieve what you want, no, you need to pray. Pray, pray, pray. Then you go ahead and tell them, God only helps those who help themselves. Why should He help them? If I'm helping myself, why should God help? I'm already helping myself. Why should God help? So these things, they take effect because we don't ask. Us, we just take commands. We don't ask any damn question. We just take commands. If we were to talk about the weed situation, in Shads, I was smoking openly. Because as in right now, I'm here on my own. I'm not here because of anyone. So I can be who I am. You people know who I am. Funny enough is when I talk to everyone individually, they know who I am. When I talk to everyone individually. But when I do something in public, they're like, hey, David, you should do that. What do you mean I should do? I do this. And you have no problem about it with it. public, now it's a problem. So you want me to be doing it in private. When I'm doing it with you in private, it's okay. But when I'm doing it in public, hey, David, no, it doesn't, hey, you can't do that. That is wrong. How is it wrong? How is it wrong? So I would smoke earlier, just in the car, just do my thing, and then I would get out. They'd be like, "Hey, come wash your hands. Here's some mafutas. Don't smell that smell." And in my head, I'm like, you're so hypocritical, and that's why we can't move ahead past where we are in, because we don't want to deal with the reality. We want to live by a textbook, which is, well, we actually don't want to live by. We want to know a textbook, but we want to live as us. So when I'm meeting another person, I want to give them a textbook version. When I'm meeting someone, I'm giving you a textbook version. But when I'm living my life, it's nowhere near the textbook. My aunt is a nun, and my aunt had no problem with my dad marrying a second wife, despite my dad marrying in church. So I'm like, in your head, only God can put only God can, is it put two people asunder or what? Something like that. But on the ground, God is not there. On the ground, you can actually be like, hey, you know what? If your wife isn't giving birth, you can get another one. Or if your wife is stubborn, you can get another one. So what's this? It's that collision that I have a problem. It is that collision that now I have to combine the textbook and real life. That is my problem. I can't combine the two. We all know we can't combine the two. Because if you're using textbook, then yeah, it makes sense. It makes sense, bro. Your robbery, attempted robbery, terrorist. Let me read these offenses again. To get a death penalty, if you're using the textbook, treason, murder, robbery, terrorism, it makes sense. But this is not what is happening on the ground. It is not rampant on the ground. Now, I'd say the robbery is rampant, but also the robbery is not that rampant. Bro, I'd say rape is more rampant than robbery. Like literally. Rape is more rampant than treason. But no, you're not dealing with the reality on the ground. We are dealing with textbook. This is wrong. Wrong based on the textbook, not on reality. On the textbook, this is wrong. So they kept on asking, why is this wrong? Why should Nani be with the Nani? At all, according to our Mila, according to our culture, you're supposed to do that. I'm like, what culture? Which culture is this you're talking about? Oh, you people of this generation, you people of now, people woke. people are fucking up things. What do you mean, we people of now? What is this we are fucking up? So a lot of things right now we are doing based on a textbook. A lot of Christians are Christians based on the Bible, not on reality. You'll find someone is a Christian, but when you come to the ground, this person is a selfish motherfucker as fuck. This person doesn't even relate with the neighbors. But when it reaches Sunday, this guy, where are they? Headed to the church. They're even praying every day. But they have a justification of them being an asshole to the society. I just want people to load on these penalties we are having. Are they based on reality or are they based on a textbook? We need to be asking a lot of whys. Why this? Why this? Why? And you're not asking to challenge. No, you're just asking to get clarification. We need to be getting new clarification as we are. Right now that we are grown up, we need to be getting clarification where we are in. Why should I believe in God? Who is this God? Where can I get him or her or they? This gender. It's called gender. God might be a they. So we need to be asking a lot of these questions. Bro, be a baby right now. Be a goddamn baby. Why should I do that? Why were we doing that? Bro, you might be doing it, but I'll just ask. Why am I going to work? Because I need to pay the bills. Okay. Then now go to work with that purpose of paying the bills. Don't go to work expecting fairness. Why do I need to drink? Why do I need to have sex? As you just ask yourself, the questions you are thinking were complicated. They're very simple. Just ask yourself why you're supposed to be doing something. Then when you're doing it with a purpose. Why am I smoking weed? You know. But in this system, the why doesn't exist in this system. Why is not allowed in this system. You're not supposed to be asking any damn question in this system. You're supposed to be going with what we are told. What you've grown into, that is what you're supposed to be going with. And you're not supposed to ask any question to it. Bro, the death penalty I was asking today, now, my sister graduated on, not is it graduation or passing the bar? Congratulations to her. So, a buddy of mine also passed the bar after after so many years of trying. But either way, he passed the bar. So I was asking him, why did you do law? He's like, so that I can get a job. I'm like, bro, all these years you've been surviving on your own. You've even been paying your own fees. So that answer is not, it doesn't make sense. It's not because like, for me to get a job, bro, you've been surviving on your own. So look for another answer to tell me, hey, you know what, this is why I'm doing law. Because clearly you don't know why you did law. You were not intentional with that law. I watched there's this movie, this the Godfather. Godfather's due the death of Don Corleone. Was it the death of Don Corleone, or I don't know what the name is? No, is it I think it's the death of Don Corleone. And in that movie, these dons were very intentional. By the time you are put through something, it was especially their kids. They'd be like, hey, I want you to do this. And when you're doing it, imagine there's a position for you already. I want you to do law. I want you to do this. I want you to do this. It was intentional. Why do you want me to do this? I want you to do this because of this and this and this. So when we're having a conversation with buddy of mine, he's like, okay, this I didn't think of it like that, but as in, at least I need papers. And I'm again, and I'm not disputing what you're doing. As in, for me, it's we don't have a purpose to do the things we are doing. We are doing them because we've been told to be doing them. You've been told if you get papers, you know papers are good for you to get a job. We're having billionaires without papers. So are we really living on reality? So now that you've been passed from the bar, are you going to pursue this career? He's like, no, at least I have it, but I'm going to go on with my company because the guy is doing retail, wholesale and retail alcohol, and he's good, bro. His shops are doing good. He has one wholesale and two retail of wines and spirits, and they are dope as fuck. They're doing good. So it's like, no, I'm still going to be doing my thing, but at least I have the papers. And I'm like, bro, if you're not practicing it, why did it take you all those many years you even paid for it? Now, I wasn't discouraging him to not practice it. For me, is if you can't answer a simple question about why you're doing something, why the fuck are you doing it? It's a simple question. Because all that struggle you've gone through to get that low degree, then apply it. But no, at least I have papers I can. Come on. So by the time, we're ending the conversation, he was like, but you this though. You, in fact, he was insisting, I'm not in touch with the reality. But nowadays you need to have papers. I'm like, what papers? Bro, you've been surviving. You've paid for your own fees. Where and why aren't you talking about that? Maybe that's what we need. How you've been surviving. Bro, that guy smokes weed as fuck. But on a uh, hidden levels. He's on the hidden level. He'll hide and he'll smoke weed as fuck. But you tell him, hey, now that you have the law degree, why don't you know, promote legalization of weed? Or like I had, that is a big thing. We can't convince these people. And then if we make it legal, then we're going to lose all our youths. I'm like, bro, which youths are this you're talking about we're going to lose? You are entering your fear and yet you're using it. Have we lost you? So you think it's better to have someone smoking weed in jail because it is illegal, rather than have someone smoking weed in somewhere like Madare? No, and I got out of that and I'm like, I'm not looking for no war. It's just that you can't answer simple questions. And if you can't answer simple questions, then it tells a lot about where we are in. So right now I can get a death penalty just because the textbook has said so. So instead of me robbing you, I can rape you. At least I'll go in for 20 years or 15. Because if I rob you, then I might get a death penalty. Can you imagine that? I can be a pedophile. I want to get a death penalty. In fact, I can go be a priest. I can go be a priest, and then I can take advantage of your kids as they come for mass serving, the altar boys. And I won't be taken nowhere. The worst that can happen is I'll be stripped off. I'll be stripped off by priesthood. So it's good. It's good you know what you're doing, bro. It's good you know that. So if if you're caught pants down, then you it's easy for you to own it up because you knew what you were doing. You won't blame it on anything. If you decide to kill, you better know you're supposed to be killing. You know, and I'll go back to that movie, Godfather. Uh, be intentional with everything you're doing. The Godfather, they insisted on if you're living by the gun, bro, you die by the gun. It's just as simple as that. There's a time one of the dons was killed, and the right man came to Corleone and he was like, hey, my master has been killed, and I have to avenge him. As in, that it doesn't matter whether it's a suicide mission or not, I have to avenge him. So they're doing things intentional. You decide you are this, you better be that. There's a documentary about serial killers. There's one serial killer, he was asked, are you ready to go back to the society? And he was like, you take me back to the society, I'm going to go and kill you. So this interviewer was asking him, so you haven't learned your lesson the time you've been in here? He's like, no. What lesson was I to learn? I wanted to kill. In fact, my problem is I was caught. If I wasn't caught, I would have gone killing. Now, I'm not justifying that person, but that person is very intentional. They know why they're doing what they're doing. As in something we all should learn. As we're just doing things because we are being told to do things. Let's follow the Constitution. Bro, if I was to be a judge, man, I'll deal with you based on the context. It's as simple as that. Bro, you've raped, you've destroyed a child, dead. You were caught in corruption, you've destroyed a community, dead. Bro, this death penalty needs to be relevant to our environment right now. There were these textbooks that parents after parents complaining they were taken out of the curriculum. Was it? I don't know. It's in states. I don't know the particular state, but it's in the United States. And I'm like, why should such people be left? You're destroying a generation. Why should you be left? You fucked up the future. Or if that's not the case, then maybe we don't know what our generation is. We have no values for our generation to protect. That's why you're having all these people getting away with this shit. Because we have nothing to protect. We don't have the value to protect, the values to protect. And I'm always very impressed by, anyway, as I'd said, this is dark. I hope we are all in the darkness. Because I feel I'm really going in dark. So I'm always impressed by the people who do things with a purpose. Bro, it doesn't matter what you're doing. But I'd watch, I'd follow that. Because it's an interest of mine. Why I was watching the serial killer docu-series is because it's something for me. What I admired was the discipline and the purpose they had in what they were doing. There's one who even explained how he won't he only killed prostitutes because prostitutes were not helping in the society. He would never kill someone who had a family. He would never kill a child. He only went for prostitutes and he would kill them after so that he can have sex with them. He preferred having sex with dead bodies. I mean, as fucked up as it is, as in this guy, this guy is doing things intentionally. As in, he's not just a rampant, a random serial killer. Not a random killer, bro. He's a serial killer. They know why they're going for that. This guy was telling me about another guy who was sacrificing. Oh man, oh he's not. He's told me today he can't make it. Man, this guy would have made sense. So he was telling me about sacrificing humans. This guy would go get humans to be sacrificed in real estate. So maybe someone wants to build an apartment, so they need a human instead of a family member or something. So he brings someone, and that person they are killed on the foundation, and the foundation and the building is built on that person. After that guy started like that, then he got into organ selling, organs harvesting. And the guy, when he talks about it, it's like he's proud of it. Like, as in, if you take me back, I'll still do it. And it might piss you off, but this guy has a purpose, man. How many people have a purpose? This guy has a purpose. It's like me, my purpose is just to harvest your organs. In fact, you right now, when I'm looking at you, you look healthy. How long have you been smoking? Have you smoked? Do you take alcohol? Ah, you're healthy. You know I can sell your organs at a very high price. Imagine that. So I was impressed more on how these people have a purpose. And they look mad, but they are not. They are relying on the madness in the society. As in this person they present themselves as sober people. They present themselves as sober people, but they are not. Why do they do that? They present that soberness because that's what you people in the society relate to. There's another video Miriam shared about Biden. The Biden was touchy with some kids. And I'm like, you see, that is our society. In fact, even Mariam said when she was a kid, she was exposed to some of the older men trying to take advantage of her. So that is something that is happening. It's only that we will not accept it. No, 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 that is wrong. That is wrong. It's not supposed to be happening. No, Father Nani can't do that. Hey, Baba Nani can't do that. Hey, Pastor Fred can't do that. But they're doing it. That guy who went to jail because the wife had incriminated him that he was sleeping with his daughters. Till the daughter later on, I don't know, it was after 20 years or was it 30 years? I don't know how long it was. Came out and said, my dad didn't do that. Imagine that. You've been in jail all that while. It makes you wonder about the justice system. So you're taking one side. It's like these judges are just victims too. They judge based on emotion. They're not judging based on, you know, logics. There's no thorough uh, evaluation being done. So you take an offense because of a textbook. Hey, your wife has said you beat her up. Jail manenos. You gender-based violence pioneer, master. Where your wife has said you don't take care of your kids inside. And imagine right now the world we are in, equality. We are looking for equality. It's not that all we haven't been serving equality. We have been serving equality, bro. We've been going to schools with our sisters. Our sisters, some of them have been performing better than our brothers. But no, we are still looking for equality. What point are we getting this equality? So we are not dealing with reality, we're dealing with a textbook. We still feel we're looking for equality, but we pass the equality because people realize that equality doesn't work. That's why women are still stuck on me. I need a man who can provide for me. I need a man who can take care of me. As in, why did you go to school then? You didn't go to school to study how to be there for a man to take care of you. You went to school to take care of your shit. Why do you still bring that notion of, I need a man to do this? So we remove the textbook from our heads. We deal with reality. All these offenses we are taking to court, let's deal with them reality-wise. There's another case, a woman stabbed her two kids. It was 9 and 6 years, or was it 6 and 2 years? After stabbing the two kids, stabbed the husband. And then she tried to kill herself. Now, I'm not understanding on that, trying to kill herself. What do you mean you are trying to kill yourself? You're supposed to be killing yourself the way you killed the other. How is it when it comes to you, you are trying? So it's clear when you were caught, you decided to victimize yourself. But when you're following the textbook, then we are going to go, oh, this woman was suffering, or you never know what this woman was going through. Bro, to take the life of two kids, your own kids, bro, you gave birth to those kids. We still need to understand you for doing that. Hii textbook pia ikae. We don't want to deal with reality. Reality is too harsh for us. We can't accept it. Too harsh. Another video I was watching, some lady saying, no, this is, I don't know, it was, this guy came and realized that after 16 years, his kid was 16 years. The kid wasn't his. So the lady was asked, did you know that? She's like, yeah, I knew. We are still talking to I still talk to the baby daddy. 16 years. Can you imagine you've been with a woman? You have a kid with that woman. All along you've known this is your child. Only to come and realize after 16 years, she's been talking to the baby daddy all these years. And this child is not yours. And she knew, but she didn't tell you. Now, what is to happen to her? Oh, according to the textbook, there's no law against that. According to the textbook, what is just supposed to be happening is the man is going to be relieved of his duties after 16 years. And the woman is now maybe supposed to pay a fine. Can you imagine that? According to the textbook. So a lot of things we need to look at them based on the ground. Today in the morning when I was talking about marriage, bro, no one has said marriage is bad. And again, no one is saying marriage is fucked up. We want to stick to, if you find a good woman, if you find a good man, where are these good women and good men? That's the reality on ground. Let's talk about that. So when I'm talking right now, me, I'm in a marriage. No, that's my marriage. I need to be dealing with my marriage. But in 2023 right now, I'm talking to my son. I know the challenges I'm facing in my marriage. And I know why I'm facing them. And the biggest reason why I'm facing these challenges is because There is no system to support me with the challenges. Bro, you go talk to your dad and your dad. You see, the Muslims have a system to support them in that, in those challenges that come with marriage. But what about the Christians? Christians, you'll be told, go talk to the priest. Go talk to the pastor. You're going to talk to the pastor. Your wife even is listening more to the pastor than she is to you. In fact, it's your wife who will advise you to go. Let's go to the priest and talk to a priest or a pastor. So we don't have that system supporting this marriage. So when we are having this conversation, don't talk about yourself. Talk about the future. Talk about your daughter. Talk about your son. Do you want them to enter this shit? When you're talking to your daughter, do you want your daughter to enter this shit? So let's live within the reality. Hapa ndio mali tuko. All the things we had on textbook, put that textbook aside and deal with something as you're living. Should we be legal? Why should it be legal? Oh, because people are already smoking it, so it will boost our economy, blah, 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 blah. You can go. Why should it be legal? Because our youths, once they take it, they get derailed. And all. Come with all those things based on the reality. Should this be a death penalty? Yes, it should because of this and this and this and this. Or no, it shouldn't because of this and this and this. Based on right now. Should we encourage marriages? Yes, we should because of this and this and this. Should we not encourage marriages? Yes, we should discourage marriages because of this and this and this. As it is right now. Don't tell someone, hey, should we encourage marriages? Yes. According to now we are following the textbook. You see, marriages, they help they help you settle, they help you, bring forth life. Marriages do this and this and this. Marriages help you be stable as a man or as a woman. At least you are, you get all this, but that's just textbook. It's not reality. Bro, if right now you're still in a position where you go out there to seduce a woman, then you've already failed, bro. And that's what we don't want to talk about. Men are not supposed to be seducing women. It's the women who are supposed to be seducing men. Now, men are seducing women because of the lack of competence. Men have stopped being competent. So now you have to go justify yourself to a woman. So that she can see your value. Imagine without you justifying yourself, she doesn't see it. She doesn't. Imagine. You have to go justify yourself. That, hey, me, I'll do this to you. I'll change your life. Hey, me, I'll beat that pussy up till, till it's burning. Imagine. Instead of this woman coming and telling you, hey, you know what, I feel I've seen you and I think you are the right person for me. That is let her make a line. Let her join the line. So that you can decide, hey, who do I want to pick in the position I'm in right now? Who do I want right now? And it's just a matter of, hey, here's some money, go sort yourself, come by on Friday, this time and this time. Imagine that. It's just a matter of that. But no. we still want to use the textbook. A man is supposed to go to a woman. A man is supposed to protect a woman. Bro, these women are learning self-defense classes. What is this protecting you're talking about? A man is supposed to be providing for a woman. These women are going to school. These women are going to school. These women are going to school. These women are doing careers. So where is this you think you're coming in to relieve them?
This is a hand. Can I just I need to talk to my mom.
Sorry about that. I had to sort. Man, I think my wife is bringing some issues. Can you guys still hear me? Man, shit. Before my phone goes off. Anyway, as I still search for it. So yeah, as I was saying, where was I now? What was I talking about? Man, my phone is going off. Thought it was the Wi-Fi. It's my phone. Anyway, so let me go back to the reality point. If you're not living on reality, we'll stick to textbook. Sorry guys, my head is just so all over because I'm on. Otherwise, I'll go off and leave you guys here online. Oh, there it is. So yeah. So I'll have to start again. Damn. Shit. I'll have to start again. Now, let me go back to what I was talking about. Reality, living on reality and living on a textbook. I think that's when I'll find my bag. So yeah, textbook. When we relate, when we're relating with each other, we are living on a textbook. Phantom, I hope you're coming to help me on where I was, man. When we are relating on a textbook. But when we are living, we were living on reality. And here's an example. You'll go outside there and speak about how either you are a faithful man or you're a religious person, but how you are living your life is purely parallel to what you're relating, like how you're relating with people. Like you'll be talking about you are a faithful man, but you are unfaithful. Bro, out here you're fucking bitches as fuck. You'll be talking about how you're religious, but back here you only remember God when things are tough. I don't know how to explain that. Like as in it's a colliding point. Say that it's a reality. I don't know how to explain it. But that's what we are. In fact, I'd prefer being with someone who doesn't talk. I'd prefer being with someone who an introvert, someone I don't know about, so that when I'm relating with them, it's a generic relation, like it's just me and you. It is not that he pretends I am with you because I want you to like me, or you are with me because you want me to like you. No, we just get along because we get along. But that's not how our life is, man. That's not how our society is. Our society is about pleasing. Our society is about finding loopholes. Imagine that. Like today in the morning, I don't know who was saying at George backs you into a corner. I'm like, who doesn't back the other into a corner? If you're having a conversation with someone and you feel that that person doesn't let you have your way, then it's because you wanted to have your way and this person is not letting you have your way. It's just as simple as that. Everyone wants to have their way. Fairness is theory. There's no fairness. So if you are to come back to now, if you are to deal with reality, you'll realize there are a lot of things we are doing right now is just textbook. A lot. When we're talking about fairness, that's textbook. When we're talking about offenses, that's textbook. They don't relate to the ground. When you're talking about marriage, that's just textbook. When you're talking about careers, it's textbook. Hey, I want to work my way up. You go look at that person working their way up means they want to fuck their way up. That's what's on ground. I want to find love. You go on ground, good dick and good pussy is what people are finding as love. Thieves should be hanged. Thieves should be killed. You go on ground, thieves are our leaders. So it's this reality we are missing. Or we accept the reality, is just that we don't want to talk it out. We don't want to express what we do. We want it to be a hidden thing. You know? And clearly, by the way, it's not darkness. Now that I look at it from the side, it's not going dark. It's basically just going the truth way. It's just that the truth way is very dark. It's not dark. When you go to a woman and tell a woman, hey, you know what, me just want to fuck you, you'll be termed as, as a whore or as a playboy. But when you go with a lie like, hey, I like how you carry yourself, I like your mind, I like how you smile. I think I love you. I've never felt like this with any other woman. There, you get that woman immediately because of a lie. You go steal right now. If you go steal right now, if you're not stealing in the office, if you're not in the office you're not in the office and you're stealing in the office, then you're what you're doing is the worst thing that can happen. You are a thief. But the president is not a thief. The president is corrupt. Or no, maybe he's not corrupt. That is a big word to use, apparently. Or in another case, I'd say is, if you have money, then the system doesn't work on you, same as if you don't have money. If you have money, you can beat a case, you can beat a murder case. If you don't have money, you can't even beat a petty offense. Bro, robbery right now, you go steal right now, maybe even if you are stealing for your family, dying family. Fuck that shit. If you don't have money to get out of this case, bro, death penalty. But another person can rape, another person can be a pedophile, and they can buy their way out of that case. Another person can throw someone outside the balcony, buy their way out of the case. Another person can decide and kill the entire family. And they'll, if they have money, then they were not right in their mind. They were suffering. They were going through depression and all that. So they'll be taken to the psychiatry. Imagine that. If you don't have money, then oh, bro, you are a murderer. Yeah, Andrew, what's up, man? I've been getting lost in my head here, all over the place.
Hey, Sema Diesel.
Good, man. How are you?
Yeah, man.
Are you dark or are you of the textbook?
I don't know. Just 1 minute. I'm making some tea.
As in, there are people like all along we've been dealing with textbook.
So you say
So
you're asking about what? Are you what?
are you dark or are you dealing with are you dealing with the textbook? What is your take on the death penalty? Or even or the penalties that are there? I just went to the death because I wanted us to go extreme. So what's your take on penalties, the offenses, the criminal law that is there?
I think there's some things that might require somebody to be killed. I think one thing that has happened in this day and age, I think to some degree we have we've probably thought of ourselves too special. What do I mean? Now because we have, the medical advancements. Every time I look at some people, when I see an image like from the US, you see all these people that are so heavy, that are fat, very fat. Even when they go to the supermarket, they can't walk. They'll have to take that cascuta. I don't know what kind of. You've seen it.
At which scooter?
it's like, okay, some of it is valuable because some of the people are probably old, so they are fairly disabled. But you can see someone who is like middle aged, but they take that motorized thing in a supermarket to move around because they are too heavy. Have you seen it?
Well, yeah, I've seen, bro, I've done that. What do you mean? There was a time I just
What
went
do
to
you
the
mean?
supermarket and I was tired as fuck, man. Like, as in, I was beat. So I just took one and I was, I'm like, as in, it's there. There are no cripples. It's not that I've taken it from anyone.
Are they there in Kenya supermarket?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. There's, bro, they have been there even the time of Nakumat. As in, I think it started with Kina Nakumat. So there are those you for the old people
Yeah.
or the disabled.
For some reason, I don't think I've ever seen it. Maybe I've seen it, or maybe
No, 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 no. You are too busy being able.
I was biased to the able people.
Yeah, or maybe you've never gone to the supermarket with an old person.
Probably. Yeah, I don't think I've ever. A person who is disabled, you have to put them in a chair and. But is it motorized that you have to be pushed by someone?
Uh, for Naivas, I think you have to be pushed. Yeah.
This one is motorized, so you run an engine. Anyway, so you find we are able to extend life. Life is, if we were living out in the open elements, I think a big portion of the world would actually die. Um, of course, we've now created so many comforts that we are able to extend that life. So, what am I getting at? So, what I'm saying is, to some degree, I think we've overvalued ourselves uh, as human beings. But I think if you get some perspective and realize the immenseness of the world and the universe, we have look at people now are opposed to things like wars. But this was it was a normal way of life. A group of human beings would go into parts of other world and try to dominate. So they would result in wars. There'll be many deaths. Um, but now when people hear about wars, now even when people hear about, like people taken into this vegan movement where they can't imagine that an animal can be killed for you to eat it. They think they now term animals as though they have a soul and all that. I think in many ways, the creature comforts that we have taken us away from understanding the primal nature of who we are. They have blinded us. I think that primal nature is still very much there. It's just that um, we are not exposed to it. It's like Kibe says, if one day probably electricity goes, not even that, turn off the internet. We have electricity but no internet. Probably people will start going nuts. Maybe we need such a calamity where a
Exactly.
big portion of the world just goes dark, internet-wise. Then now we start becoming a little more creative in terms of how do we connect, how do we communicate. Probably go back to the old ways of doing things. Um, People can't survive. I bet if you were to put people in a primal setting, like in a forest, probably they can't hunt, they can't. I don't know if actually, even for myself, I can't hunt. I need to learn how to fish. Uh, but getting back to sort of those very basic life skills, is important to survive. But there'll be a big portion of people that don't have those skills. Um, Many of them, they are living with medication. That's the only thing that sustains them. Just imagine that medication, is no longer supplied. And they will die. And probably we need a bit of those deaths to happen so that it's the survival for the fittest. Those who survive really have the ingenuity, the resourcefulness, the strength of mind to figure stuff out, to now adapt to that new reality. So, yeah, I think death penalty has its value. Many of the sentimentality that we now have around life and preserving it is probably a bit rooted in this Christianity mindset of there's always a second, third, fifth uh, chance, you know. So that makes you be more reckless, not disciplined. So yeah, probably that's what I would add.
But if we are to go by reality, when was the last time you heard of a death penalty in Kenya?
Oh wow, I don't remember. I don't think it has ever happened in my lifetime yet. I've not had some.
Bro, when the coup was happening, you were not born yet, yeah.
Probably. When's the last time you had? You had one in the last 20, 30 years.
But it was during the coup, bro.
Oh, the coup, 82.
Yeah, he was. What was his name?
Oh, yeah.
Treason.
I was like a year old that time.
So we imagine there has not been a death penalty talker then. So meaning it is not necessary for our society. Even this thing you're saying, Ati, it's to put us in check. It's a lie, bro. We haven't been having it, and we've been in check. In fact,
Have we been in check, really? Have we been in check?
yes.
What do you mean by that?
What I mean is our society is progressing.
Is
You
it? Are
see,
we progressing or regressing?
no. If we were regressing, then right now we would have been worse. Bro, we would have not have I would have not had a government, would have not had an economy.
No.
Bro, there would no be there would never be any development in our country. I want you to understand what progress is and what lack of progress is. So it doesn't, it's like we are asking for a perfect world, for a utopia. But we don't have a utopia. We have a world that is dealing with the situation as they are. Now, it's either you're progressing or regressing.
Yeah, I think if we were to probe those two questions, are we progressing or regressing? Yeah, I mean, you see the usual outward display of probably opulence and seemingly progress. But maybe if we were to look at a few things, maybe 30 or so years ago, you could walk in Nairobi city late at night without a care in the world.
Where? Stop lying, bro. From the moment we all knew about Nairobi, we knew Nairobi unaweza pata nyongolo. If you go in any dark street, Nairobi, you'll be stolen from. Bro, we've known that all along.
So let's look at two societies. Let's look at the Kenyan society and the probably like an Arab society, where if you happen to be found to have stolen, they have a far punitive punishment, which is they cut off your hand. So what does that begin doing? Begins um, programming the people that the 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 loss is far much worse than what you'd gain from a said gain from a stolen activity. So I don't think removing some of those punitive measures of curtailing either crime of sorts or the other um, has kept us in check. Yes, maybe those people were killed in 82 because it was termed as treason, that they took something that would uh, have much more adverse effects to the country. To destabilize an entire country. And they did destabilize it for those couple of hours when they took charge. So those few people, for the benefit of the many, needed to be eliminated. We could say, because of how corruption has become so steeped in our culture, and it is having far worse effects on us, that it is high time we took some punitive action. Maybe line people up and shoot them. And the idea is just to have an example of a few of this, and it will be just the remembrance that if I'm caught, I could die. But now, if I'm caught, all I need is to get the best lawyer in town. All I need is to bribe the judge. All I need probably is a few days in the slum, and then I'm able to get off. But death penalty, anything punitive, being cut off your limb, I think is what has made some societies be a lot more disciplined, orderly. The same as a place like Rwanda, they don't joke with some of these things. And what has that happened? Over time, that discipline has already now been ingrained. I hear in places like Dubai, you could even leave your laptop somewhere and just go, and you find it there. I even wonder how Dubai has been able. I mean, it's a fairly cosmopolitan society. Now it has probably the immigrants or the international people that are living there more than the locals. But it's, I guess, the structures they have put in place that when you come in as a foreigner, you better abide. It's even much worse for you because either you get deported or it gets worse. So I don't think it has kept us in check. And I don't think if we were to poll every element of what we might term as progress, we are progressing. I think in many ways, even just try and reflect back even when you are younger and to the life now. I think there are some things that I think, well, you could say, our schools were working better. Our hospitals were well stocked. You could easily go to a public hospital or a public school and get a better quality of education or a fairly good quality of education. Now, almost anyone who is sort of middle class, even in lower middle class, they can't imagine taking their kids to public schools. That's the level of degradation that we've gone through. Yes, on the surface, on the shiny objects, we have them. We have iPhones or this and that, but uh, Look at the estates in Nairobi. They were much more orderly. Garbage was collected. Those kind of things I used to hear were very efficient. Now, non-existent. Okay, at least private sector has also come in to fill in some of those gaps. But that level of order, one could argue maybe the population is higher, but I mean, Kenya is still a fairly big country. What we didn't do is mature with that growth in population and figure out how best to manage it. So anyway, so I think that question of have we progressed or regressed, I think needs to be probed further. Are we in check? I would also doubt that.
But what are you comparing it to? Maybe that's the problem. Like, as in, what are you comparing the standard of progress to?
Um, I'm comparing it with sort of the living standards before and even the living standards now.
And you feel like the living standards now are worse than before?
Yeah, I think if you're not, particularly if you're not wealthy, the living standards are way, way lower. If you're wealthy, if you have the money, you have the option to, create sort of an artificial bubble for yourself and for those that are of that economic level. But if you're not, then man, the living standards are way, way lower, which is very different from how it was before. I think before, those that were not wealthy still had a more dignified. Even now we are talking about housing. How many
What do you
people
mean?
are in dignified houses?
Let me give you you see, like in Nairobi, yeah, if you go to Hurlingham or Kileleshwa, a lot of apartments are coming up right now.
Yeah,
And
and
these apartments, immediately they come up, you see they are full.
no, they are. But
Yes.
I've driven around the election. You see also quite a number of them that are empty. But even say with that, let's speak on, and somebody who's living in single apartment, who's living a better high quality of life.
I lost you there a bit. It is someone who's living in.
If you're living in your own house,
Mm-hmm.
in your own compound,
Mm-hmm.
compared to somebody who is in an apartment block, who has a better living condition.
On compound.
100%. So
But
now,
now
a
you
majority of Nairobi residents used to live in their own house. But now a lot of those now, becoming these high-rise houses. And even some are so high, at least 3, 4 stories look ideal. I'm looking at some of those buildings in off Ngong Road, in places in Kilimani. You see, even now Kilimani is being termed as the new pipeline. I mean, those high rises, man, I wouldn't want to be perched so high in the sky. So,
but
again, if you were to measure that as a living standard, it's getting worse.
no, it's not getting worse. It's how things. You see, you're not taking into account the rural urban migration. You see, Kitambo, and if let me use the Luos, the dad would get land for their kids. So by the time you start owning a house, you are owning a house in your own land. But now, the moment rural urban migration started, that is a lifestyle that we dropped. Bro, I was
Yeah,
in China. I was in China, and those people, they're even selling their rural lands to get apartments in towns because the apartments. There was an apartment we went to. It was I don't know, 98 floors. Bro, 98 floors.
Man, that's ridiculous. That's
And there are
ridiculous.
many, and there are many like that. So these people have adapted to, in fact, you even see their interior design, they focus on utilizing small spaces. Now, to you, you might think that is a worse condition to live in because it's not an own compound and all. But for them, it is about, convenience. That is convenient for them. And they have adapted to how things are right now. So
No,
it's the
I
same
agree.
for us.
The circumstances are forced because, yes, it's the urban migration, the increase in population. So you have to pack people in smaller spaces than it was before.
So they're not forced.
But
No, they're not forced.
that does
They're
not
not forced.
that does not negate that that sense of living. That's why you find people who live in the city want as they want as they grow older to leave the city, to live maybe like a rural life where you can see some greenery, where you have a sense of space. You're not, you're not blocked. Your sunshine is not blocked because there's this high rise that is just next door to you. So, eh, what I'm trying to get at, yes, I agree. People have to adapt to those constraints that have now been started by the rural urban migration and increase in population. But that still does not remove the concept of the quality of life. People in China now have to contend with pollution in the city. It's the same thing in Nairobi. These days, when I call people in Nairobi, everyone is saying, "No, I have a cold or something." It's the living conditions that you're living in, the dust, that 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 aspect where, and partly Nairobi is suffering this because of lack of enforcement, because every little space that is there, a building has to come up, and the city council does not enforce some of these things. If it were to enforce even some of those high rises, I think somebody might argue that some of them are not supposed to be in places like Kilimani. Kilimani probably had a certain um, restrictions with regards to that. So, yes, they have adapted, but is that a better living condition? And we can see in the statistics that it's not a good living condition because of the illnesses that people have to suffer, the stresses that are there. So, you have to take into consideration all that.
But you see, you're talking about better living conditions. You're giving a standard that is not relatable to what we are living on. Now, the better living conditions are a standard whereby if we had land to live, there was no rural urban migration. We were having land to live on our own, our own compound.
Kenya is too big. I mean, probably we are only occupying a third of it, bro. It's just that
Again, people don't know that, because if we knew that, we would have
it's
gone to
poverty.
the to the 3/4.
Let me tell you, it's poverty.
No, it's not poverty, bro. It's
Poverty. Because I tell you this, somebody, if they feel they are constrained by those circumstances that they are living in, they will look for other alternatives. They look for other alternatives.
and you see, let me tell you, the alternative that we have is that rural urban migration. That's the only alternative we have. Now it's either you do rural urban or urban rural.
Yeah, I think the government should now figure out how it can enforce that. Of course, people can do it on an individual basis, but to influence a big part of the population, um, and it doesn't have to be rural, urban, maybe to some of the smaller towns, smaller cities. There was talk of Kenya should probably consider moving the capital to another place. That in and of itself, if it is moved, you find a lot of the civil servants living in those places.
A man forgot to put his phone on silent and it rang.
And what would that be? What would that mean? That will force people to leave Nairobi, which has got a lot of concentration of people, to those other towns. I was actually talking to a friend yesterday, and every time I've been talking to him, he's been telling, "Oh, today I'm in Kisumu because I'm trying to build a home in my shags. His shags is about an hour out of Kisumu." And I was telling him, why don't you even consider relocating to Kisumu altogether? The living standard in Kisumu is way, way better than in Nairobi. Way better than in Nairobi.
What do
So,
you mean? Kisumu is more expensive than Nairobi, but bro, Kisumu is way more expensive than Nairobi.
yeah, Nairobi, because it has the aspect of population, you get those advantages. You get your skuma wiki at a cheaper rate. But, living standard does not mean cheap. But just the idea of one, you don't encounter a lot of traffic. Like for me, one of the reasons that made me even think of relocating, just the whole traffic affair in Kenya was crazy. Having to spend an hour on the road, those stresses, they make you now figure out, okay, should I consider either moving to another city, moving to another town, moving to another country altogether? So, Kisumu, despite the cost, maybe food is a bit expensive, a little bit compared to Nairobi. And Nairobi has a virtue of population. That's why it might be cheap. Um, has a better living standard. You probably don't spend a lot of time on the road, those kind of things.
I still don't see it. Maybe you are looking at it from the place you are in. You're not looking at it as if you're in Kenya.
Yeah.
Like as in for us, we imagine we even have the. There was a time I was on the express highway and I got a jam. I was headed to West. I got a jam right from Nini from Apo Haile Selassie.
Hmm.
And I'm like, can you imagine this jam down there? And even on the express highway right now, there's a jam,
Hmm.
you know. So if we are to talk about living standards for us here in Nairobi, that is not an issue. Because if it was an
Because that's all
issue,
you
if
know.
if if if
That's
the
all you
jam
know.
if the jam was an issue, we would have come up with a way to deal with jam. Bro, we even know how to navigate around a jam.
Yeah, I mean, I think there are two things. Sometimes people can come up with a way to resolve a problem. The other approach people do is learn to manage the problem and live with it. So it's just understanding, oh, okay, if I to get to town by this time, I just have to budget, uh, probably waking up early, incorporate the time that there's traffic. Now that you're managing the problem. If, as a people, we decide, no, we don't want to live with this problem and need a solution, yes, you will come up with a solution, and solutions are there. Could be figuring out, maybe increasing more of the commuter train, maybe bringing in something like a light rail in the city. Maybe government can penalize people when they come into town. We pay a higher cost, and then put better buses and those kind of things. Solutions are there. It's just that we've normalized the problem. We've adapted to the problem. But if you were to probably spend a month outside of Nairobi, maybe in another city, in another country, and just do the same routine that you had, maybe your eyes will be open and realize, oh, okay, wow.
But again, now there is where I was telling you. You see, if I'm spending in another city, that city has adapted to it. It has the way you've said it, like you get used to your system. If you can't change it, you get used to it. So that system you're from, it is a totally different system as the system we are in. You see, some of these things, the solutions come. In fact, the best way to express it is nini, invention is man, I keep on forgetting this.
Is it
This,
innovation and invention?
like
Ah,
there
the
has to
one
be
that
a
the
need.
one whatever is the mother of all inventions. Sorry.
Yes. Necessity is the mother of all invention. Now, if we haven't invented a solution, you've gone out and seen a solution. If us, where we are in, we haven't invented that solution, then to us it's not a problem. It is a problem to you because you are in another system that is working different from this one.
You know, that's true. I guess we all have probably a different perspective to things. I remember even when I was, because I used to live in Imaradaima, very close to the train station there. But I still had friends who, for them, they opted to drive. For me, I used to drive in the morning on a Monday morning. I would drive to work. In the evening, I would leave the car at the office and then go to the train station in Tao and go back home. From the train station to my house used to be like a 6 minutes walk. It's very close. I remember actually like one time there was some heavy downpour. So all the roads were chocker blocked. Chocker block. My brother actually that time he left office a bit late because you know we were all sort of updating each other. Not that we lived together, but I think that there were floods everywhere. So roads were blocked. You know there was a lot of traffic. My brother ended up sleeping at a hotel in town. His wife the following day had to bring him a new suit of clothes. Um, but for me, I was already home, dry, asleep. So the solutions, some of them are there, um, but for some reason, somebody opts for something else. They still want to do the drive. For me, I felt okay. The drive was an issue. Having to be in a car for an hour, that was a problem. For my brother, I think he decided to manage or accept the problem as it is and never sought something different. Because the train also was not too far from him. He lives in Syokimau, and from where he is, he could easily drive his car to the train station there, leave it, take the train, go to town, and then just take one bus to his office. And he would have done that, take a bus, take the train would have dropped him back to the train station closest to his home and onto his car and back to his house. So, yeah, maybe what you raise also is that um, I don't know. I don't know how to describe it. Just different perspectives what you desire for yourself. For me, the drive was a major stressor. I don't know, maybe my brother enjoyed it, and decided to use it in another way. So, yeah, maybe that's it. But all in all, sometimes if you are to poll people who live in the conditions that you have in Nairobi and people who live in a different set of conditions and grade them apples to apples on things like stress levels, apples to apples on things like uh, living conditions. And living conditions maybe is a bit more ambiguous term, but maybe things like what? Better health, because some of these stresses come with some health implications. The pollution, because there are more cars on the road vis-a-vis a place where there are lesser cars, etc., etc. So there are probably some parameters that might be an indicator of those, because sometimes the managing of a problem might blind you from a real problem that you're having. Yeah.
And I don't think it's blinding. It's basically trying to have a one standardization, like the entire world